Maka, I hope you are able to read through and go through the recorded session from the last class, and so you'll be able to catch up, because I won't be able to start explaining all over again. All I'm doing now is a recap so that you have an idea on what we talked about in our last class. So Lillian and Obiamaka, please do endeavor to go to your dashboard and look up the recorded session for last week Friday's biology class. Okay, so today we'll be talking about the cell structure, cell function, cell theory, organization of life. In short, we are talking about the cell today. Now, when talking about the cell, like I mentioned, we'll talk about organization of life, we'll talk about cell theory, we'll talk about cell structure and cell function. When we talk about organization of life in cell, we are talking about how life is organized from one phase to another, from one state to another. How are cells organized? How are cells organized to come alive? Now, when we talk about organization of life, what does it mean? It's a group of components that are arranged systematically to form a system for a particular purpose. For example, if you want to build a house now, you don't just buy all the cement, buy the sand, buy everything. Then you now put it down and expect it to start building itself. You are going to need laborers who are going to lay a foundation upon which the building will be placed. That is just how organization of life is. It starts from cell, the smallest and the basic unit of life. There are different definitions of cell. Some say a cell is the basic unit of life. Some say a cell is the structural and functional unit of life. Some say a cell is the smallest unit that forms life. All of these definitions are quite correct. When we are talking about organization of life, Obiamaka and Lillian, are you following? Obiamaka and Lillian, are you following? Okay, Lillian, thank you for that emoji. Obiamaka, are you there? Are you following too? All right, Obiamaka, I can see your emoji. Thank you for that. So when we are talking about organization of life, we're going to begin with cell. The organization of all life forms, of all living things, let me put it that way. Living things. And remember, what are living things? Who can tell me what are living things? Lillian and Obiamaka, what is the meaning of living things? What are living things? This is from primary school. What are living things?
Living things are those things that have life in them.
Good. Living things are those things that have life in them. So when we are talking about living things, we are talking about things that have life in them. I'm talking about all of these living things. They start from somewhere. They start from what we call cell, which is the basic unit of life. Now, in the organization of life, we have a chain. We have the cell. Oh, give me a moment. We have the cell. We have tissue. We have organ, and we have system. These are the basic things that form the organization of life. When we are talking about cell, who can remind me what definition I gave for cell? I gave 3 definitions for cell at the when I started talking about this topic. Lillian and Obiamaka, are you there? If you are in a place where you cannot speak freely, please just use the chat box. What did I say cell is? I gave 3 definitions of cell, and I mentioned that all 3 definitions are correct.
Okay. You said that
Yes.
cell is a basic unit of life.
Yes, correct. Cell is a basic unit of life. And when we are talking about the organization of life, I said the organization of life, we have the cell. Give me a moment. Something is displaying on my screen. Okay. We have the cell. We have tissue. We have organs. And we have system. Now, the first level is the cell. That is where all life form begins from. Once a cell is formed, which is the basic unit of life, the cells come together, they collaborate, they form a tissue. And what are tissues? Tissues are a group of cells that come together and they perform a similar function. Now, what are examples of cells before I forget? For example, we have the nerve cells, the cells that control our nerves. We have the red blood cells. We have muscle cells. These muscle cells are part of what makes up our skeletal system, our musculoskeletal system. And these cells will go on to become, they collaborate and form tissues. Examples of tissue, we have nervous tissue, we have muscular tissue, we have epithelial tissues. Epithelial tissues are tissues that form lining of our organs, like even our mouth, your cheeks. Your cheeks, for example, there are epithelial cells lining it internally. I'm not talking about outside, internally. Then we'll move on to organs. What are organs? Organs are simply different tissues that come together to perform also a similar function. So who can give us examples of organs in human beings? Examples of organs in human beings. Anybody?
Liver.
Yes, liver. Lillian, thank you for that. You gave us heart. Liver, we have heart. Yes, we have kidney. We have our brain. We have a lot of organs in our body. Yes or no? Oh, thank you for that, Lillian. Then from organs, it moves to system. What is system? What are systems? A system is a combination of different organs that come together also. They are grouped together to perform a similar function. For example, our hearts, our blood vessels, and even our lungs, the lungs used in breathing, they come together and form the cardiopulmonary system. What's the cardiopulmonary system? From the word heart, cardia, pulmonary, lungs. It means what? Together it forms the cardiopulmonary system. And what is the cardiopulmonary system responsible for? It's responsible for movement of blood around our body, oxygenated blood. Blood that has gone through the lungs to become oxygenated. And we have the digestive system. Who can mention the organs that make up the digestive system? Organs that make up the digestive system. Anybody? Organs that make up the digestive system. Stomach. Yes, the stomach is an organ. Yes. Another person?
Small intestine.
Small intestine. Yes. Another person? Stomach, small intestine. Yes. We have a lot of organs that make up the digestive system. And how many are we in class? We are 4. So I'm still expecting. Oh, Golden, large intestine. Okay. Thank you, Golden. Okay, I think Golden has spoken. Golden, you're welcome to class. Efosa, you're also welcome to class. Now, all of these organs that you've mentioned now as part of the digestive system, these organs come together and form the digestive system. We also have the urinary system. The urinary system responsible for formation and passage of urine. Who can mention the organs that makes up the urinary system? Organs that make up the urinary system. Yeah. Yes, kidney. Thank you for that, Lillian. Kidney. We have the kidney. Yes. Any other person? We have the kidney. Bladder. Thank you, Lillian. We have the bladder, etc. Other systems that we have in our body, we have like the excretory system, the nervous system, where we have the brain, spinal cord, and nerves. we have a lot of systems in our body. So I'm just going to stop there for now. Now let's talk about the classification of living organisms. We can classify living organisms based on the number of cells, based on their shape, based on their size, and based on the forms in which they exist. When we talk about based on the number of cells, we have just two types of cell. We have the unicellular cell and we have the multicellular cell. Unicellular, uni means one, multi means many. Uni means one and multi means many. So when we talk about unicellular organism, what are unicellular organism? From uni meaning one, it means what? A unicellular organism is an organism that is made up of one type of cell. It's only made up of one type of cell. This cell is what performs all the major functions: excretory function, digestive function, reproductive function. An example is the amoeba. How many of you have heard about amoeba before? Who can tell us about amoeba? What do you know about amoeba? Anyone wants to give it a trial? Amoeba has a common name. They commonly call it a name. What? What did you say, Golden?
It's shapeless.
Yes, amoeba is shapeless. Amoeba can take any shape, any form. An example is an amoeba. An amoeba is made up of just one cell. So an amoeba is an example of a unicellular organism. So it is that one cell that is in its body that it uses to feed, to perform digestive function, excretory function, reproductive function, and every other life processes that it needs to perform. Then the second type of cell, based on the number of cells, we have the multicellular organism. Like I mentioned, I said multi means many. It can be made up of 2, 3, 5, 10. For example, we human beings are multicellular organisms. Our body is made up of different cells. Different cells. Now, these multicellular organisms, they are made up of 2 or more cells. And an example is we human beings, mammals. We can say mammals, birds, and some higher organisms. Based on shape, we have one, a filamentous organism, and an example of a filamentous organism, we have the spirogyra. How many of you know what spirogyra is? If you know what spirogyra is, drop an emoji. Okay, Lillian knows what spirogyra is. Yes. Fosa knows what spirogyra is. Okay, Golden, good. Now, when we talk about spirogyra, in this season now, it might not really be common, but once rain starts falling every now and then, you will start finding them almost anywhere, especially where there is stagnant water. You can find spirogyra there. Those greenish looking organisms that appears near water in a damp place is spirogyra, and it is an example of an organism that exists in filaments. Also, we have the amoeba, which is an irregularly shaped organism. Then we have the oval organism. We have the oval shaped organism like the chlamydomonas. We have the slipper shaped organism like the paramecium. Paramecium looks like it has the shape of a slippers. So if anyone asks you which organism has the shape of a slippers, it is the paramecium. Then we have organisms that are spherically shaped, and an example of organisms that are spherically shaped, that have the shape of a sphere. An example is the red blood cells. Signify. You can see the whiteboard, signify. I want to know if you can see the whiteboard before I start annotating. Okay. All right. So I want to illustrate a paramecium on the screen. Can you all see the screen? Please drop an emoji if you can see the screen. Okay. Thank you, Golden. Golden can see the screen. Okay. No. Okay. So this is what a paramecium looks like. Then all over it, it has tiny air-like structure that is called the cilia, projecting from the body. So it's made up of all of those little structures called cilia. Those structures are called cilia. So with the aid of the cilia, that is how it moves. Then we also have the amoeba. The amoeba can take different shape. The amoeba can take different shapes. It can take different shapes. Then we have the red blood cells that we say is spherical in shape, except for conditions like sickle cell anemia, where the red blood cells will have the shape of a sickle. Then based on size, we have small celled organisms and we have large celled organisms. Based on the form in which they exist, we have organisms that exist independently, organisms that exist as a colony, organisms that exist in filament, organisms that exist as part of a unicellular organism. For those that exist independently, singly, they exist on their own. An example is amoeba. Those that exist in filament, we have the spirogyra. Those that exist as a colony, we have the volvox, we have the chlamydomonas, and those that exist as part of a multicellular organism, an example is we human beings. We exist as part of a multicellular organism. Now, I've talked about unicellular organisms. Let's talk about amoeba and paramecium as a unicellular organism. When we talk about amoeba, an amoeba is an eukaryotic organism. Who can tell me what eukaryotic means? What is the meaning of eukaryotic? Eukaryotic, prokaryotic, that's what I'm asking you about. What is the meaning of eukaryotic? When they say an organism is an eukaryotic organism. Anyone?
Well, well defined nucleus.
Yes, correct. Thank you very much, Golden. An organism that is eukaryotic is said to have a well-defined nucleus, a true nucleus. So an eukaryotic organism has a well-defined nucleus, which is a true nucleus, while the prokaryotic organism, it does not have a well-defined nucleus. So an amoeba is an eukaryotic organism, meaning it has a well-defined nucleus. And what kingdom does amoeba belong to from your classification of living things? What kingdom does it belong to? Anyone? What kingdom of classification? Kingdom, phylum, class, family, order, genus, species. What kingdom does amoeba belong to? Anyone? Anyone wants to give it a trial? The kingdom that amoeba belongs to. Okay, I've got no one, so let me bail you out on that. The amoeba belongs to kingdom Protista. It belongs to the kingdom Protista. And what is the shape of an amoeba? We already mentioned it earlier. We said it is shapeless. It has an irregular shape. And where can you find it? You can find it in ponds. You can find it in ponds. Now, amoeba moves with the aid of a pseudopodia. The pseudopodia is what it uses in movements, and it has a vacuole that is embedded within the cytoplasm, and the nucleus is responsible for controlling all of its life function. Remember that the amoeba is unicellular, one cell. So it has just one cell that coordinates all of the activities that it's going to undergo in its lifetime. Then let's talk about the paramecium, the one that I said looks like a slippers, and that I illustrated on the screen earlier. The paramecium is a slipper-shaped eukaryotic organism also, which means it has a well-defined nucleus. We can also find it in fresh water. And also, let me ask another question. What kingdom does the paramecium belong to? Anyone? What kingdom? Anyone? Okay, I will bail you out on that too. The paramecium also belongs to the kingdom Protista, just like the amoeba. The paramecium belongs to the kingdom Protista. And it has organelles like the food vacuole, the contractile vacuoles, etc. And how does it move? Just like amoeba moves with the head of the pseudopodia, the paramecium moves with the head of a cilia. Those tiny hair-like structures I was trying to illustrate on the screen. Lillian, you asked a question, Protista and Monera. I'm going to attend to that when I finish discussing this topic. So the paramecium, thank you for that, Lillian. The paramecium moves with the aid of a cilia. It moves with the aid of cilia. The singular is cilium. Then talking about Iglina. And Iglina has a plant and animal characteristics. So you can classify an Iglina as a plant. You can also classify it as an animal. Why can you classify Iglina as a plant? Because it has a structure called the chloroplast. That chloroplast helps it to perform the process of photosynthesis. That is why we classify an Iglina as a plant and an animal. Depending on the condition where the Iglina finds itself, it will determine whether it will live as a plant at that moment or it will live as an animal. The Iglina, what kingdom does Iglina belong to? Anyone? Anyone? What kingdom does the Iglina belong to? Kingdom what? How many kingdoms do we have? Let's begin from there. How many kingdoms do we have in the hierarchical classification of living things? How many kingdoms do we have? Anybody? Golden, Lillian, Efosa, yes. If you're in a place where you can't speak, you speak freely. You can use the chat box, please. Anyone? Okay, we have 5. I think I will add that to your next assignment. Maybe that will gear you up to read up on it. All right, so the Iglina is also belongs to kingdom Protista. It is eukaryotic and it has both plant and animal characteristics. You're welcome to class, Egwagi. You're quite late, but it's good to have you here. Now, I didn't mention that the reason why we classify the Iglina also as a plant is because it has a structure called chloroplast. And this chloroplast is responsible for performing the process of photosynthesis. Now, what is the structure for locomotion? The structure for movement in Iglina. It moves by the whipping action of its flagella. It has a flagella. You're welcome. Welcome back, Gwagi. It's good to have you here. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again so I can give you what an Iglina looks like. We also have another unicellular organism. We have the Chlamydomonas. I want to believe you must have heard about this. All these things I'm mentioning from your SS1, SS2. The Chlamydomonas is also a unicellular organism, and it is found in the kingdom Protista. It's also found in the kingdom Protista, and they have 2 flagella. It has 2 flagella, unlike Iglina that has just 1 flagella. Now, the Chlamydomonas is classified as a plant because it has a structure also, just like the Iglina, that is called the chloroplast. And this chloroplast is responsible for performing the process of photosynthesis. And for organisms that live as a colony, we have an organism called the volvox. The volvox. If you can see my screen, please signify. If you can see my screen, please drop an emoji. Okay, thank you. So this is what an Iglina looks like. It has a cup-shaped chloroplast. Then we have the Climadomonas, which is quite smaller. Then we have the next one, we have the Volvox. The Volvox live as a colony. When we talk about the colony, this is what the colony looks like. Okay, Lillian, you can't see my screen. Lillian, you can't see my screen. Okay. Obiamaka, can you see my screen? Golden, can you see my screen? Okay. Oh, okay, give me a moment. Okay. Can you see my screen now? Please let me know if you can see my screen now. This is weird. Okay, all right. I guess I'm going to go on without using the screen. Okay, Golden and Lillian. Okay, you can see my screen now. Okay, that's great. All right. So talking about the Volvox that lives in a colony. This is what it looks like. You find them this way, all living together, boxed up together. Now, how are they held up to? You'll be wondering, how are all these cells held together? They are held together by a substance called mucilage. They are held together by a substance called mucilage. And the Volvox is also classified as a plant, and it also belongs to kingdom Protista. And they live as a colony, and they move by the beating action of their flagella. Then we have the Spirogyra. We have the Spirogyra. The Spirogyra, I mentioned earlier that the Spirogyra lives as a what? Anyone? The Spirogyra lives as a what? Can anyone tell us that? I've mentioned it twice. The Spirogyra lives as a what?
Filament.
Yes, thank you very much for that, Golden. The Spirogyra lives as a filament. They are organized into long filaments, and they are green algae that belong to the division Chlorophyta, and they are said to be a photosynthetic protozoan proteus. Why would they call it photosynthetic protozoan proteus? Because they are able to perform photosynthesis. They are free floating. You see them floating around on the surfaces of water, especially stagnant water. And the ones that live as part of a multicellular organism, we have the cells and structures that are found in mammals, in a higher vertebrates. They're talking about the cell theory. Let's go to the cell theory. Now, the cell theory was formulated by two people, and these two people are German scientists. These two people are German scientists. One of them is a botanist, and the other one is a zoologist. The one who is a botanist, his name is Matthias Skledin, and the one who is a zoologist, his name is Theodor Schwann. And they formulated the cell theory between the year 1838 and 1839. However, in 1855, the cell theory was refined by another German biologist called Rudolf Virchow, who proved that really all cells arise from pre-existing cells. Then we have Robert Brown, who named spherical shaped bodies in a cell, the nucleus. We have Haeckel in 1866 that postulated that nucleus was responsible for storing and transforming genetic information. We have J.E. Purkinje in 1839, who discovered the fluid present inside the cell of living organism, and he named it the protoplasm. Then we have Henry Dutrochet in 1824, who proposed that all living things are made up of cells. Now, talking about the cell theory, what is the cell theory itself? There are three postulates of the cell theories. The first one, it states that all living things are made up of cells. The second one says that the cell is the structural and functional unit of all living organisms. So we can call it the basic unit of life. The third theory is says that all cells arise from pre-existing cells, which means cells don't just come down from heaven or anywhere. They are formed based on previous cells, pre-existing cells, cells that existed previously. So I think that's where I will stop for today. Our time is fast spent. In our next class tomorrow, we are going to finish up. We'll talk about cell structure and cell function, together with the topic that we have for tomorrow, if time permits us. Our time is fast spent. So please, let's endeavor to always make it in time for class. Today we had to wait 10 minutes because I only had one student in class at the beginning. So, and I felt like, okay, let's hold on for the others to about 7:10 before we go on, so that people don't miss out too much. All right, so I'm going to mark the attendance now. Okay. Come on. Okay. Oh, my assignment. That reminds me. Assignment. Only 2 people did the assignment, and that was Obawumi and I think Christine. The rest did not do the assignment, and I don't know why you didn't do the assignment. So, Golden, did you see the assignment? Please unmute your mics.
Ma, I do not know of any assignment.
Golden, did you do the assignment? Did you see the assignment on your dashboard?
I don't know how to the dashboard, but I just literally forgot.
Yes.
Okay. How about Lillian and Efosa? Did you see the assignment on your dashboard?
No, ma, I did not see the assignment.
Wow. Lillian, how about you? Okay, you're sending a crying emoji. So I'm assuming you also did not see the assignment. I don't know why and how you didn't see the assignment, because 2 people attempted the assignment, about me and one other person. So I don't know how you did not see it on your dashboard. So maybe you should check your dashboard again or reach out to the admin. Endeavor to do assignments. The assignment is based on what we've already done, not what we've not done. You know, if it's based on what we've not done now, you will say, your excuse might be you probably don't know the answer. But it's based on what we've done. For example, the assignment from last week was based on sense organs. The topic, that was our first topic last week, Thursday. So it's going to test your knowledge on how much you've understood the topic that has been taught. And it will help you see how much reading even you have to do personally to be able to catch up. All right, let's go to the question and answer session. Does anybody have a question? Somebody asked a question earlier. Lillian, yes, Lillian asked a question in the chat box. She said, Protista and Monera, are they the same? No, they are not the same. I was asking you a question earlier. I said, what kingdom does Amoeba belong to? What kingdom does Paramecium belong to? And you were unable to answer. And I now answered the question. I said, let me bail you out. I said they belong to kingdom Protista. Now, we have 5 kingdoms. Kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista. Am I jogging your memory? Hello? Oh, yeah, go on and mention the rest.
Kingdom Monera, Kingdom Protista, Kingdom Fungi,
Kingdom Plantain, and Kingdom Animalia.
That was what I was asking. That how many kingdoms do we have? 5. Protista, Monera, Animalia, Fungi, Plantain. The Plantain kingdom is majorly plants. Can you see that? So kingdom Protista is one kingdom on its own. Monera is another kingdom, an entirely different kingdom on its own. So Lillian, don't mix it up, okay? So does anybody have any other question? Does anybody have any other question? Okay, I'm assuming no one has any other question. So it is now my turn to ask questions. Who can tell me the postulate of the cell theory? You can unmute your mics, but if you cannot speak freely where you are, you can just drop your answer in the chat box. Who can tell me the postulate of the cell theory? How many did I say are the postulate of the cell theory? How many postulates of cell theory do we have? Anybody?
3.
Okay, 3. Who can give us 1 or 2, maybe?
Cells are made from pre-existing cells.
Okay, cells are
Then,
made of existing cells, yes.
and the cell is the center of the
The basic unit of life.
yes, the basic unit of life.
And we also have all cells are made up of all living things are made up of cells. Okay. So talking about organization of life, how many organization of life do we have? How many levels of organization of life do we have? How many levels of organization of life do we have? Anybody? 4. Thank you, Lillian. 4. So we can mention them. You can mention them. There are 4 in number. We can mention them. Cell, tissue, organ, system. Thank you so much, Lillian. Now we've already said that cell is the basic unit of life. Yes. What are organs? What are organs? Anybody, what are organs?
Organs are tissues that comes together to perform different functions.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Okay. Who can give us some example of system that we have? The systems that we have in our animals.
Digestive system,
Yes.
excretion system, respiratory system.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that. Thank you so much. Which organism did I say has a slipper's shape?
Paramecium.
What? What did you say?
Paramecium.
Paramecium. Yes, thank you, paramecium. And based on the number of cells, how many types of cells do we have?
2 types of cells.
2 types of cells. Yes, thank you also, Lillian. Can you mention them?
Unicellular and multicellular.
Okay. The shapes of cell. How about shapes of cell? Thank you, Lillian, also. The shapes of cells. What are the shapes of cells that we have? What are the shapes of cells that we have? Anybody? Okay. What are the forms in which living cells exist? The forms in which living cells exist. Yes. Anyone? Okay. Now, based on shape, I said we have oval shaped organisms, slipper shapes, we have irregularly shaped, we have filamentous shape, we have spherical shape. And based on the forms in which they exist, in which living cells exist, we have those that exist independently, singly on their own, those that exist as a colony, those that exist in filament, and those that exist as part of multicellular organisms. Which organism has both plant and animal characteristics? Anyone? Which organism has both plant? Anyone? Hello, are you there? If you can hear me, drop an emoji. How does it feel like you guys are not hearing me? If you can hear me, drop an emoji. That's weird. Hello? Oh, okay, great. I was beginning to wonder if you guys can still hear me. Which organism can live as a plant and also as an animal? Which organism is that? I mentioned it. It has both plant and animal-like characteristics. Anybody? Thank you, Lillian Iglina. All right. Which one exists as a filament? As a filament. Which one exists as a filament?
The Spirogyra. Spirogyra.
Spirogyra. Yes, thank you for that. Thank you for making an attempt, Efosa. Which one exists? Thank you, Lilia. Which one exists as a colony? They live together in colony and they are held together by a substance called mucilage. Which one exists as a colony?
Volvox.
Volvox. Thank you very much. So this is where we are going to bring the class to a close. If you know your friends that didn't make it to this class, please tell them a recorded version will be made available for them to listen, watch, and be a part of the class. So, and also, if in the course of reading you have any questions, please do note down your questions. In our next class, will be I will ask if you have questions from previous class. So let's endeavor to make an attempt. I think the assignment, I think late submission is not allowed though. So let's endeavor to make an attempt on the next assignment that will be given. The next assignment should be available by weekend, this weekend latest. So you should be able to attempt it, and it will be based on what we've done today. So I'm going to see you in our next class. Our next class is tomorrow, Friday, 7 p.m. All right, so have a good evening. Bye, Lillian. Bye, Efosa. Bye, Golden. Bye, Egwage. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. So I'll see you in our next class. Bye.